as much as we want to sit back and say Travis Kelsey is not the player that he was, the Chiefs still made the Super Bowl. What else do they have to prove at this point? I mean,
Greetings and salutations. I did this to myself. And welcome to the Icons Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams. And on today's Top Shelf Tuesday edition, we are going to talk about acknowledging and recovering from mistakes. I hate the offseason. At what point are you considered a bust? And we get to talk about from setback to comeback, the triumphant return of many NFL players. But first, Cleveland, this is not boring. Cleveland's rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, got cited for speeding 101 miles an hour. He didn't follow Tony Dungy's rules. And apparently, he is a frequent speeder. So with us today, our panel, we're going to go off with our athletic director and our counselor, George Ocken, academic and athletic consultant for the CK Save Project. George, how are you handling the Shedeur Sanders situation?
Well, first and foremost, to me personally, it's not really that big a deal. I mean, he didn't when he got stopped. There was nothing in the car. There was no gun paraphernalia, no guns, no drug paraphernalia. There was none of that. There was no young lady in the car either. You got a young man who has a bunch of money. He got his car, and now he's out here. Yeah, you're gonna reprimand him or whatever and tell him you need to slow down, son. Even maybe even have him, drive him back and forth to practice and give him a little curfew or something like that because nothing good ever happens after what was that? After 2 a.m., 12 o'clock.
After midnight. Nothing good happens after midnight.
Midnight. But I think that because of who he is and because of everything that happened during the draft and all that other stuff, the media has made this more than what it really is. I think that this is a situation. This isn't that big a situation, and it's just it's one of those things that happen, and you keep it moving. You know better, you learn, and you keep it moving. I mean, he's gonna be your starting quarterback before it's all said and done. So let's keep it moving. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Have a conversation. We keep it moving. That wouldn't as an owner, as an AD or something like that. That's not going to be one of my uh big thorns or big priorities. I'm going to have a talk with him, and I'm going to keep it moving.
All right. So from that one, I want to bring in Mike Connors, our teacher of the month every month. Henry Ruggs was in the news, and is this a step in the right direction? So former Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III, he was on special release from prison at one point last week, and he spoke at a Hope for Prisoners event in Las Vegas, and he apologized to the family of the woman he killed in the car crash nearly 4 years ago. Ruggs drove a car at speeds up to 156 miles an hour in the city, slammed into a vehicle, and killed the driver and her dog. He was sentenced to 3 to 10 years. There are many people, Nick Saban is one, who said if he's able to get out, he should get another opportunity. Mike, I know you've done a lot of work with restorative justice, thoughts and ideas with that. When you see this story, and I know you knew the original story, what do you think about Henry Ruggs' situation?
This goes back to something that all coaches tell their players, that one decision can change your fate. We've all had athletes in high school or college that did something dumb and it reflected badly. I had a student who was a good heavyweight wrestler, posted a picture on Facebook of himself smoking something, had to dismiss him from the team just because you broke the team rules. And I don't know what it was in that blunt, but it looked like a blunt, smelled like a blunt, I'm sure. So we had to get rid of him. Now, I did a little research on this, and Ruggs, horrible, horrible event. I mean, no one's ever going to question that. I mean, the young man made a mistake, and young men make mistakes. The thing is, one, will he learn from it? Okay, I read up a lot about this, and almost to a person, everyone said this was very out of character for him. So the young man made a horrific decision to drink. I believe I read he was at a Top Golf with the girl he was dating, driving way too fast. And from what it sounds like, he's taking responsibility for what he did. Now, this poor girl's family, that will never bring back their daughter. And Ruggs should be, I don't want to say given credit because that doesn't sound right, but in reading about the case, the prosecution did a settlement with Ruggs because they were afraid that the blood work to get his blood alcohol content could be thrown out. So if this young man wanted to fight this, he could have, but instead he took his medicine. He got a 3 to 10 year sentence when he could have fought it out in the courts and drawn it out and drawn it out and drawn it out. So it sounds like he's realizing that he made a horrific mistake and he has to take the blame for it. Now, unfortunately, someone lost their life and her dog lost their life. Not to minimize that, any death is sad, but it sounds like this is a learning experience for the young man. And I don't know if he'll ever get back to the NFL, but hopefully he learns from this and moves forward. And unfortunately, other athletes can learn from his horrific mistake. When I say unfortunately, that someone had to die because for people to learn that this can happen to anyone. Every quarterback he worked with, all the coaches said this was not like him. Oh my gosh, we're going to do what we can to support him. But we all feel horrible for the family as well. So they weren't blowing this off at all. But it sounded like this was out of character for this young man. I don't know him very well or at all besides the headlines, but he fessed up to it. He said, I wish this family could not see me in the papers all the time to help them heal. So he's saying the right things. And I just hope that this young man gets into his heart that that he needed to change, even if it was one bad mistake, and move forward and maybe be, I don't want to say be a productive member of society because that sounds horrible, but move forward from this and not have this scar his entire life.
And Keith, piggyback on that, if he does get a chance to get back, I hope that his mental health is taken into account by whatever team picks him up, because that is to be in a situation where you have caused somebody else's death, not just by the speeding that had the alcohol consumption and stuff all involved in it also. And I think that also changes the whole dynamic when you got the alcohol piece in there too. He's gonna be saddled with that for the rest of his life and dealing with it. So it's gonna be, how does he get enjoyment when he does, if he gets back on the field and he does well? It's something that whatever team picks him up needs to take into full consideration when they get him.
All right. I thought we covered that very well. To close this segment, I'm going to bring the players into it. Danny, Travis Kelce ended his season with a thumping and a bumping. He came in last year fat, went on tour with his girlfriend, and didn't have a Travis Kelce type season. We said on the show at the time, I don't think he's going to go out like that. And he just said this week he's coming back. He looks to be in better shape. Any thoughts on your end as a former player who, as you got older, that conditioning stuff, man, I could do something else. What do you think about Travis Kelce? Should we bank on the Chiefs, sir?
As long as Patrick Mahomes is quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, you will continue to bank on the Kansas City Chiefs going where they're going. As much as we want to sit back and say Travis Kelce is not the player that he was, the Chiefs still made the Super Bowl. What else does he have to prove at this point? I mean, from a player's outlook, speaking of someone who's had to come back from injury and come back from not having a very good season the year before, he needs to spend ample amount of time this offseason trying to get him back into some sense of shape where we're looking at him not as the all-pro tight end. We're looking at him as that tight end who we know you can depend on him. He needs to follow that Jason Witten, Tony Gonzalez model and just focus on the little things to get himself, make sure he's healthy enough to play and just play out for the remainder of the season. Because we all look at Tony Gonzalez and thought he must have took something, but he just focused on his health. And ever since he came back, he may not have been the all-pro tight end, the Hall of Famer tight end that we know that he is, but he was still a damaging tight end for offenses, for defenses to deal with. So Kelce needs to just stick to that model, and we'll deal with it when the time comes. But trust me, this is talking to a Ravens fan. Like I said before, as long as Mahomes is still quarterback of the Chiefs, I am not counting out Kansas City. I just won't.
All right. Will Cott, the team captain. You saw he was fat boy all year. You know he wasn't locked in. When you hear what you're hearing now, talk to me as a captain. How we feel about Travis Kelce?
Travis Kelce, remember, he was a third-round pick. He came in, he was hungry. You know what I'm saying? He was coming in, had something to prove. But when you get paid a couple times, millions of dollars, you win 3 Super Bowls, your girlfriend's a billionaire, you know, the weight room gets a little skimp. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to wake up every day and have that grind. It's hard to wake up, have that chip on your shoulder that you had when you got drafted. It's hard to wake up and feel like you have to earn or have done things. People are already calling him, outside of Rob Gronkowski, the greatest tight end of ever. I'm not saying it, but it's out there, you know, and that's respect. You know what I'm saying? He's done so much for this organization. I mean, the dude he's played every game. He's rarely injured. He's never an issue off the field. You don't have to worry about things like that. You know, but at the end of the day, I mean, how much more does he want to play football anymore? Patrick Mahomes wants to be great. Travis Kelce wants to be good. He's good right now. He's like, there's nothing he's changing. Like, it's hard to be the greatest quarterback in the NFL versus one of the better tight ends or the greatest tight ends in ever. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like, it's not a hate of him, but it's just like, bruh, when steak dinners are coming out, when the girlfriend's like, hey, let's go out. Are you going to be done working out? Are you still at the facility? You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all been there when the woman talk about, are you done yet? Are you ready to go eat? Oh, I'm hungry. It's hard to do that, especially when you're at a level he's at, where it's like I'm a millionaire and my girlfriend's a billionaire. Mind you, as a fun only gambler, entertainment only, his anytime touchdown was almost inexistent last year. He didn't even score a touchdown. And that was a go-to for gamblers the last 2-3 years before that. It's hard for me to come back. He has 1 year left on his contract. I think they're going to honor that. They're not going to bring him back for more money. If anything, he'll have to take a pay cut. To be honest with you, I don't see even reason why to come back, but I think he should go on for his last ride. I think Mahomes know the same thing. Even if you look at his body, I mean, when 2 years ago, that dude had the triceps, he was thin, he was walking around. 2 years ago, he was looking like a real tight end, strictly blocking, strictly blocking. He out here on this jumbo package. He was the tricep was gone. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a lack of just skill. It's just the dude has just done everything and doesn't put the same effort in, or needs to, that to make him great. So yeah, I think he'll see the same year that we saw last year, maybe a couple more touchdowns, because Andy Reid's a little better about his offense and how he manages to put guys in situation to score. But I think the Travis Kelce we've seen the 2-3 years ago are gone. He's going to be a regular guy. Don't even expect to make the Pro Bowl next year, to be honest with you.
Wow, wow, they talk about, they just said so eloquently, Travis Kelce need to get on the juice on that LeBron plan and get rid of the girl.
Okay, so
Why
fans,
not?
segment 2, we're going to talk about bus and when should you be considered a bust. We'll be right back on the Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here, and for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond, and that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy, designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential, both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CKA Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches Podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. And in segment 2, when should you be considered a bust? So in terms of talent evaluation, 3 to 5 years is usually the time you'll give a coach or a player to prove himself. Wilcott, we've got a number of guys over the last 3 to 5 years who've come in and not wowed. So is there anybody out there going into this season who better have a good season, or else they'll be considered that dreaded bust?
I mean, I'm going to go from a perspective. I know other than the panels are going different, but I'm going to go from the fantasy football. Nobody is taking Travis Lawrence, Bryce Young, or Anthony Richardson. Travis Etienne may be, but nobody's taking them. These guys are done from a fantasy perspective unless they show me that they are productive to win those games. Now, I know NFL is different. I know the production is different. I know valuation is different. But to be honest with you, Trevor Lawrence is done. I think there's enough film on this guy that he's not good enough to be him. Bryce Young, we'll see. He had a great end of the season last year. I want to see if and again, he's playing in Carolina, which is the quarterback graveyard because they're terrible to developing quarterbacks and they care about putting talent around him. So we'll see. I'll give him another year. Anthony Richardson, I've been told y'all when he got drafted, he can't throw a 5-year out. So I don't know why we still talking about Anthony Richardson. Travis Etienne, I mean, he's a good running back. He's okay, not great. I wouldn't be sad if they let him go. Again, he got drafted 25th, so you're not like awesome or a highlight guy. Let him go. There's guys who you're like, yo, at the end of the day, like this is done, man. This is done. And they should go by the same idea with fantasy football guys who are like, look, I'm looking at the numbers. You're not him. I know people may be invested with you millions of dollars, but you're not him. The only person on this list I would give a chance is Bryce Young. That's it. Other than that,
everybody else.
move
okay.
on.
So Connors, are we being too harsh? Who do you think needs to have a good season, or else, yeah, I would consider you a bust?
Well, I don't know if you could consider him a bust yet, but I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good year. He's in his 5th year. He's on his 3rd coach in 5 years. I mean, the first year he had Urban Meyer, who made more headlines for hanging out with strange women in bars and not flying with the team than he did for anything he did on the field. He hired controversial coaches. He hired a controversial strength and conditioning coach who had been in a bunch of trouble in college. So that was a circus the first year. Doug Peterson didn't do well the couple seasons he was there. So now Liam Cohen's there in his 2nd year. So let's see what happens with that. Bryce Young, as Will said, Carolina's where all good players go to die. So he did show a lot of progress at the end of the year. We talked about that quite extensively. So I can't think he can quit on him yet. I mean, and Anthony Richardson, you don't have to worry about quitting on him because he'll quit on you.
He'll quit on you, right?
This is the young man who
right?
said in a tight game, I need a break. I need a breather. This is to go along with his concussion, his AC joint injury. He injured an oblique. He had nasal surgery. I mean, this kid has done everything he could to sabotage himself, and he's been out all preseason this year with an injury. So I can't even say that he's a bust because I don't think he ever had that much of a reputation to be that great, to be honest with you. ETN, running back. They're a dime a dozen. I like them, but they've added some new receivers in Jacksonville, so hopefully that'll help him too. But, and the biggest buster that we have on our list here, I think, is Evan Neal, the tackle for the Giants. He came in with a lot of press to play left tackle. Right tackle. He has not done well. He played left tackle in college, and that's not an easy transition. People don't realize how different that is. I mean, NBA player, you can't say go in and shoot with your other hand. And that's what an offensive lineman does. If he moves from left tackle to right tackle, his footwork is reversed and he punches with the opposite hand. It's very different. So I think they might slide him into guard and that could help him. But still, if you get drafted as a tackle and then moved into guard, you're a bust.
Yeah. George, is there anybody in particular that you think needs to have a good season, or yeah, you're a bust?
Um, well, the news just got me. Anyway, I'm looking at, you got the regulars. Everybody brought him up. Trevor Lawrence. ATN's an interesting one because he's like he reminds me of Spider in Mitchell in basketball. They stay injured, and when you need them, they get hurt. So that's a huge one. And Trevor Lawrence, I don't know what the whole, I don't know what's going to happen with him. He's gone through a number of different head coaches, offensive coordinators. You keep putting them in the mix, and and it keeps being a bust. I'll tell you two that I'm looking out that I'm going to be interested to see what the hell happens. Period. This year is going to be McCarthy in Minnesota because I want to see what kind of season he has. And I'm feeling real shaky about, and I hate to say this, Mike, but Jackson Dart, I'm feeling real shaky about him too. Those two,
He's not going to play.
Yeah, those two, that's where the concern, that where if you want to talk about my major concerns coming in, those will be the two. I mean, with Jacksonville, they're bad all the way around. I don't unless something drastic happens, I think they're going to just blow it all up and try to start all over again. Uh I see Bryce down in Carolina. I see him continuing on the upswing. Now I want to see if CJ Stroud has a response to last year because last year his numbers were down. We'll see if he comes back up to where he was playing before from the previous season during his rookie year. So,
Yeah. All right, Danny,
Not in
close us
Carolina.
out. I hope I don't pick them this year.
no, go ahead, do it again because you're gonna pick
Stop
Minnesota
it.
again.
Carolina sucks, man.
Strictly for entertainment purposes only. Danny, is there anybody in particular, especially being a Baltimore fan, that you're like, hey, need you to do something, or that dreaded B word?
First thing that came to mind, I mean, yeah, we threw all the regulars out there, but the first thing that came to my mind, the receiver out of Tennessee, Traylon Burks. He is fading into and in a situation where honestly, when I saw he got drafted by Tennessee, he came into unfair expectations anyway. Because you come into the league when they just picked up AJ Brown from Philadelphia. And then you got the offseason now, they went and got Tyler Lockett, who is pretty much a similar build, similar player to who you are. So unless he comes in and builds a strong relationship with Cam Ward, I think we can go ahead and put him in that category. And then I'm like George, I want to see what McCarthy does in Minnesota this year.
They got rid of Sam Darnold because of that guy, so that's a little pressure.
Right. So it's like you got rid of a guy that took them to the playoffs that they haven't seen in a while. So you have to step in and fulfill that role with Darnold being gone. So those are two names that popped into my mind. And of course, the residents that we already mentioned. I'm not high on Bryce Young being that B word yet, only because of the way he finished off last season. And then at the same time, I don't know. It's just I have a little bit more faith that he can actually turn it around, but we'll see what happens. Because again, remember, he plays for Carolina, and as we already said, Carolina's a quarterback graveyard. Because look what happens when Baker Mayfield left. He's turned into this guy who is the guy who we all thought he was going to be after he left Carolina. So who knows?
That's a huge statement. Look what happened when Baker Mayfield left. That's a huge statement. God. Oh.
All right. So, fans, when we get back, we're going to flip it around. We've got some guys coming off injuries that maybe will take you to the stratosphere, as Dusty would say. We'll be right back on the Eye Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, and for years, I've witnessed the struggles student-athletes face on how to truly balance the demands of academics and athletics. It's a question that I have dedicated my life to answering. That's why I wrote Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. It's more than just a book. It is my personal journey, and it is filled with hard-earned lessons from decades as a coach, educator, and now president of the CKA Safe Project. Inside, you will find practical advice, real life stories, and a clear roadmap to help student athletes, coaches, and parents navigate the complex world of balancing sports and education. And now I am thrilled to bring this message to a wider audience as a proud member of the Cascade Sports Network. We're partnering to amplify these crucial conversations about student athlete success. I believe every student athlete deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential, both on and off the court and the field. You can purchase your copy directly from our website at www.casafeproject.org. Join me and the Cascade Sports Network as we work together to help every student athlete succeed. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast, and it's segment 3. Okay, don't call it a comeback. George, I'm going to start with you. I think I know what direction you might go, but any particular player coming back from injury that you're excited about seeing this year?
You know what? I think, and I'm gonna throw you a curveball real quick right here. I think McCaffrey's done. I don't think CMC is gonna be even a shell of what he was. So that's the one I'm gonna pay attention to. Now, of course, you want me to say Dak. I think
Dakota, you got to win something to get a
let me
nickname, according to
let me tell
Mike Francis.
Well, let me tell you this right now. I think Dakota will be back. Dakota will be back to where he was before. He just had a new baby. He's got a contract. I'm not worried about Dakota coming back. Cowboys' big situation is going to be keeping Dakota out of tight situations where he feels like he got to win a game, and trying to stop somebody running the football. That's going to be the big one right there. So
you can put that in the group chat. That is franchise says you don't get a nickname until you win something.
Yeah, my big one. That's my big one. Is that I don't think we're going to see a McCaffrey even close to where he was.
All right, Connors, what do you think? A returning guy from injury that you're looking forward to watching?
I'm going off the page here. The person I'm most excited to see come back is Christian Wilkins, who left the Dolphins to go to the Raiders, broke his foot after 5 games, and had to sit out the rest of the season. Having a big guy who takes up 2 sets of hands is going to help free up Lucas Van Ness, the D end, who we talked about in this podcast a few times. And with the defensive coordinator there, Graham, I think that the defense is going to be even better in Vegas this year. Pete Carroll coming in. I love me some Pete Carroll, and I think the Raiders are a team to look at this year, but seeing Christian Wilkins come back healthy in his first full season with the Raiders, I think is going to help their defense substantially.
All right. Will Cotton, anybody coming off injury that you're like, I can't wait to see this guy play?
Well, it's our guy, Aiden Hutchinson, man. That was our guy.
Yes.
And of all the guys who came in, he didn't tear any tendons or anything like that. He broke his bone, which means once that bone is healed, he should feel good about going back and what he's doing. And again, he's a pass rusher, so he's not as versatile in terms of like a running back or receiver where he has to make hard cuts. Not that he doesn't, but he does have a much more straight beeline to the quarterback than he does. So I'm really excited to see them back and see what they do with him. And I would like to see Dak Prescott, man. To be honest with you, like I'm not gonna say he gets a bad rep. He gets a bad rep because Dak Prescott is actually a pretty good quarterback. 2 years ago he hurt his ankle. This year, previously he hurt his shoulder. I think the guy is good. You know what I'm saying? I think the guy is a legit quarterback. I think there's a lot of people who give him trash, but those teams would love. I know if you're in Las Vegas, I know you would love to have Dak outside of your boy. Don't even know his name.
Geno
Smith.
Don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? I know you'd be happy in New Orleans if you had Dak, then me and George playing quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is like he gets a bad rep. I like when he comes back. He gets George Pickens to come back. I'm glad that I hope they got some good offensive line to protect him. unbiasedly, I really like the kid to play. I don't know why he gets like, again, he throws interceptions to everybody, even me. So I get that. I
Only in
am
the crunch time. Only in the crunch is when he's
Oh,
throws.
oh, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys thing, it is what it is. I get it. I do like Rashee Rice. I always excited about his game last year. I want to see how him and Xavier Woods work together and kind of alleviate sort of the pressure on Travis Kelce. Because they are very those guys are dynamic and they can ball. So I'm excited about those guys. Rashee Rice, Dak Prescott, and obviously my man Aiden Hutchinson. That's about next year. I'm excited for.
All right, Danny, close this out. Is there anybody coming back that you say don't call it a comeback?
I mean, outside of Aiden Hudson, who was my response, we mentioned him in the last segment, JJ McCarthy. He's a young boy coming into a new situation. Like we said, they got rid of Sam Darnold because they knew they have the future in what they have now following him. So let's see how he does coming into this season, because now you have very real expectations on your hands right now. Minnesota's expecting to go back to the playoffs and go further than what they did last season. And I liked him coming out of Michigan anyway. He
What?
didn't make too many. I definitely did like him coming out of Michigan. I didn't think he was going to be first round, top of the draft like type pick, but I didn't think he was going to be, I didn't think he was going to be like a bad quarterback coming out. So we'll see what happens with that. And then, Will already mentioned Aiden Hutchinson coming back from his injury. Aiden Hutchinson was on a tear before that injury took him out of the season, and he was one of my favorite players to watch. And I just want to see what happens. And then, as a Ravens fan, this might not be a comeback, but can Jair Alexander stay healthy? When he's healthy, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Key phrase, when he's healthy.
Okay.
So he's not on a big contract. He's not, he's not coming in with such high expectations that he's not going to be the same player that he was. But can he stay healthy and at least be back to some resemblance of what he was that was very serviceable and one of the top cornerbacks in the league? So those are the three names that I'm paying attention to this season.
Mike Conner,
Yes.
did you think McCarthy was a starting NFL quarterback coming out of Michigan?
No quarterback in NCAA history handed off a ball like he did to win a national championship.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's all.
I did not want him at all
Thank
in
you.
Giants
Thank
blue and white.
Thank you.
No. And
I needed my other football guy to challenge. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No.
Okay.
I'm done with this segment.
So fans, we are almost to the point where we're doing our OCP NFL division previews. So not next week, but the following week, we will do on our July 8th show, the AFC North. And now that we know Danny is a Ravens fan, we hope he joins us on that taping. So we will kick off our division previews July 8th with the AFC North. So stay tuned. Our format is the same, but it's just going to be better. Segment 1, we'll do team overviews. Segment 2, we'll do stories to watch for each team. And in segment 3, we will talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. We will also mention predicted division champions, sleeper picks, playoff teams, and will you play in the big game? Because we don't own the rights to talk about something called Super.
And
So,
props.
Yes, Will is our props guy.
We're gonna do some props.
That's
Let's
a
go,
shoot
baby.
right there. All right. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, also seen on the Cascade Sports Network. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.